है एहसन खान, मुझे भी यही लगता है शायद आखिरी मैच है। सदा इस्लाम करें, आपका नाम क्या ब्रो? मेरा नाम मकास है अहमद।
Good shout. Look.
Sigh of relief from the captain of the Gold Gladiators, and he can show a smile. See, on the point of Nafika Prasad, I didn't mean it here. I was just.
Up of frame,
Mohammad Amir, always potent with the new ball, so it's not going to be a walk in the park for this batting pair as we count down for some royal entertainment. If you just joined us, it's a 5-over affair. The umpires, Rohita Kotachi, Pragit Rambukwella. Bit of seam movement, you will get that lateral movement. We spoke about the moisture, the rain on the surface.
That one's killing. Hurried the batsman. Mohammad Amir really bending his back on that occasion. That's what you expect from him. Employs experience.
Some swing, good work by the wicketkeeper. Zamkhan diving away.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Azam Khan, my goodness.
What do you expect? He's Moin Khan's son.
I know, but he's not Moin Khan. Outstanding. I mean, look, with due respect, looking at his structure, I mean, the way he moved so quickly and got across, it was brilliant.
Tucked away. Andrew Russell gets going very early in this game.
Oh, he wrenched it, didn't he? He hit the ball with all the disdain and contempt in the world. Wow. Flatter than flat, that six was.
Flat batter, it hardly went off the ground. I mean, it didn't go high. It really didn't go high. Normally, it would be very high and over the ground. It's so flat. Very nearly hit those boundary boards. But good start. Very good start. It's a 6. So already 7 runs of 2 balls.
Well, although it's a 5-over affair, we hope that you've gone onto your My 11 Circle app and picked your favorite players, your fantasy team. Andrew Russell should be in that squad. giving himself room. Another boundary. This is Russell's style of batting in T20s.
Took a lot of pace on the ball. He was looking to bowl the change up. Just that Russell anticipated it very well. He just opened that front foot, waited for it, and then with that large gap, the length allowed him to play that shot.
He psyched out the baller, didn't he? He knew it's going to be a slow delivery. He was ready for it. He was into the position quickly and executed it with authority. He's hot at the moment.
It was a mile 11 circle champion shot, I'll tell you. It was such a champion shot because he read it well. The anticipation was good. He was waiting.
Just have a look how he opens up a bit, Andre Russell. That front foot just goes a little bit wider. And he goes again. Bat on ball and it flies all the way for a 6.
Or if the batsman is given the license to go after the bowler, you have to feel for the bowlers, and especially when Andre Russell is batting.
Well, ace is coming, events casting shadows. They've got, 17 runs of 4 balls. By the looks of it, they might get more than 20 runs, so...
And it's not Bam Bam stuff. He's watching the ball closely. He's getting into good positions very early. That's why he's been able to execute some breathtaking strokes. Andre Russell.
Gentlemen, spare a thought for the bowlers.
Ball getting wet, flat wicket, and then bowling to Andre Russell. You have to feel for the bowlers.
2 fielders outside the 30-yard circle, a deep mid wicket, a wide third man. Wide signal. Will have to reload.
Nowhere to run. Nowhere to hide.
What was Amir complaining about? He knew it was a wide. I think he tried. He really tried to get in a top ball.
Maybe he was making a case for himself that since Andre Russell backed away from the stumps, but didn't impress the umpire at all.
3 boundaries for Andre Russell in this first over. Remember, it's a 5 overs per innings affair.
Easy as you like. And it's another My 11 circle championship.
Did we have rain? Did we ever have rain here? Look at the pace of the outfield. Man, it's just flying. It's just flying off the bat. We were talking about 3 hours of solid rain. But this outfield, it may look a little bit damp, but it is traveling.
And you can understand what Mohammad Amir is trying to do. He's trying to go just within that tram line through the offside so that Russell can't reach the ball. He responds well, just presents the face of the bat and beats the fielder in that sweeper boundary. So that's good cricket all around.
How heavy is the bat? He just guided the ball, didn't he?
22.
And we've just passed max Q. Coming up are 3 events in rapid succession. The first event is MECO, or main engine cutoff. This is where all 9 of the Merlin engines on the Falcon 9 first stage will shut down in preparation for the second event, which is stage separation. This is where the first and second stage will separate from one another. And a few seconds after that, we'll have a second engine start 1, where the Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage will ignite to boost Dragon to low Earth orbit. Again, that is main engine cutoff, stage separation, followed by second engine start. So on screen right now, you have two different views. On the right-hand side is a view of our second stage Merlin vacuum engine. On top of that second stage is our Dragon vehicle. And on the left-hand side is a view from the top of our first stage looking downward. The first stage will continue its descent back towards Earth and attempt landing on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, in a few minutes, while the second stage continues to take our Dragon vehicle to low Earth orbit. If you are just joining us, this is the 21st commercial resupply mission for the International Space Station for NASA. This is also SpaceX's 24th launch this year. We're flying a cargo configuration of our new Dragon spacecraft. Now looking on the left-hand side of your screen, the first stage, in order to make its way back to our drone ship, the first stage executes a series of two burns. The first burn is the entry burn, where 3 of the Merlin engines will reignite. This helps to slow the stage down as it re-enters the upper parts of the Earth's atmosphere. The second and final burn is the landing burn. This is a single engine burn that brings the vehicle speed down rapidly in order to land on our drone ship. The first of those two burns, the stage 1 entry burn, should happen around the T plus 6.5 minute mark. Until then, we get some really cool views of both the first and second stage. You notice that our grid fins on the first stage have also deployed. Those help to guide the first stage back during descent. You can also see some periodic plumes of gas, that's nitrogen, coming from our attitude control systems. Those help to orient the first stage as it continues to fall back towards Earth. There it goes. We're about a minute away from the first of his two burns on the first stage. Just checking in with the second stage. Everything seems to be looking nominal.
Trajectory nominal.
That engine that you see on the right-hand side can produce over 220,000 pounds of thrust in a vacuum. That single engine is what is carrying Dragon to low Earth orbit right now. And we're just a few seconds away from our re-entry burn on the first stage. Watch for those 3 Merlin engines to relight and slow the stage down.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
There's our entry burn. Again, that's 3 engines slowing the first stage down before it hits that dense part of the Earth's atmosphere.
Trajectory nominal. Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
And we are done with the first of 2 burns on the first stage. The second burn, the landing burn, will happen at the T plus 8 minute and 18 second mark. That second burn should last for about 25 seconds, and as that burn is happening, we should also be having another major event for the second stage, second engine cutoff. We'll see if we can hear that as the landing burn begins. As we wait for this landing burn, this is going to be our 68th attempt to recover our first stage, and we are going to be attempting to land on our drone ship in the Atlantic Ocean. Of course, I still love you.
Second stage and terminal guidance. Stage 1, landing burn startup.
And we got audio confirmation
STS is saved.
that the first stage has begun its landing burn. Everything's looking great on the second stage right now.
Stage 1, landing leg deploy.
There's a view from our drone ship. Here comes Falcon 9.
Eco. Stage 1.
And Falcon 9 has landed once again. That is the 68th successful first stage recovery. This mission also marks the 100th successful flight of Falcon 9. It's also the 35th time we've landed successfully on our drone ship. Of course, I still love you. During that landing, we did get confirmation of second stage, second engine cutoff. Also, confirmation of a good orbit. And second stage now has one last major task, commanding separation of Dragon just a few minutes from now. And we should have a video of Dragon separation from the top of the second stage. It should give us a nice view into Dragon's unpressurized cargo trunk area. This is an animation to show where each of the stages are currently in this mission. Second stage has turned off its Merlin vacuum engine and is currently coasting, waiting for Dragon separation. The unpressurized section of Dragon. Now, for a typical CRS mission, after Dragon deploys, we would be waiting for but as a reminder, this is our new Dragon vehicle, and it has solar panels mounted along the surface of the trunk. You might be able to see it once Dragon separates, but those solar panels are already activated and producing power. We are about 45 seconds away from Dragon separation. Again, we are in a coast phase. Even though the engines are not on, we are still coasting at a pretty fast pace, 27,000 kilometers per hour. And we are expecting Dragon separation just a few seconds from now.
Dragon separation confirmed.
And there is Dragon separated from the second stage. What a cool view. That is, if you've been following us, looks a lot different than our previous CRS missions. Dragon is carrying approximately 6,400 pounds of cargo to the International Space Station on this mission. A small portion of the cargo represents supplies for the astronauts, things like food and clothing, but most of the cargo represents science going up to the space station. The International Space Station serves as the world's leading laboratory for cutting-edge research and technology development that will enable human and robotic exploration of destinations beyond low Earth orbit, including the Moon and even Mars. The Dragon vehicle is just beginning its journey. It has about 26 hours before reaching the space station. The next major event is nose cone deploy. That's where we expose the guidance, navigation, and control sensors and docking mechanisms. A sample of the dozens of research experiments that Dragon will take up to the space station. For more information on the exciting microgravity research happening on the orbiting lab, you can follow @space_station on Twitter. We are currently under contract with NASA to resupply the space station through 2024 as part of a second commercial resupply services contract award. These missions will use the new version of Dragon, which can fly both cargo and people, and today's mission marks the first flight under this new contract, and we're super excited to continue this partnership with NASA. Flying NASA astronauts and helping keep the space station fully operational is a top priority for us here at SpaceX. We are just past T-minus 4 minutes and continuing to count down for an 11:17 a.m. Eastern launch to the International Space Station. In these last few minutes, Falcon 9 is performing final health checks on its primary communications, avionics, and propulsion systems in preparation for flight. Just to give you a recap of what's been happening, at the T-minus 7-minute mark, we began engine chilling. This is where we inject a small amount of super chill liquid oxygen to prepare the 9 first-stage engine turbopumps for full propellant flow during flight. You might hear the callouts that engines are sufficiently chilled later on in the countdown. At the T-minus 4-minute mark, the transporter erector, which is that large truss structure next to Falcon 9, began to retract away from Falcon 9 in preparation for liftoff. In about a minute around the T-minus 2-minute mark, liquid oxygen should complete loading on the second stage, and that will be the last of our propellant loading. At the T-minus 1-minute mark, Falcon 9 flight computers will enter startup mode and guide the rocket through the rest of the countdown. Shortly after that, the SpaceX launch director will give the go for launch, and finally at T0, the rocket is released from the hold down clamps for liftoff, after which the strong back fully retracts away from the rocket, clearing way for Falcon 9's ascent. Checkouts of the second stage thrust vector control actuators are also underway. You often hear people refer to this as an engine wiggle test. This is when we move the thrust nozzle slightly to make sure that the guidance hardware is a go for flight. We do the exact same checkouts on the engines for the first stage, except that occurs just seconds before ignition. Dragon is also performing its final health checkouts to make sure all of its primary systems are ready for its rendezvous with the space station. The range remains a go for launch, and whether we are still continuing to monitor. Let's listen into the nets for the last few minutes of terminal count. And you can see that we have some white clouds starting to form around Falcon 9. This is completely normal for us at this stage in the countdown. That is liquid oxygen condensing when it meets the warmer ambient airs of Florida. And we've just passed the T-minus 1 minute mark. Both stages are beginning to pressurize for launch. And we are reaching the T-minus 30-second mark. All systems are go for launch. This is mission CRS-21, the last mission of Dragon for this year. T plus 50 seconds into flight. Falcon 9 is carrying our upgraded Dragon vehicle to low Earth orbit. In a few seconds, we'll be passing max Q, which is the moment where the vehicle will experience the highest amount of aerodynamic pressures. And we've just passed max Q. Coming up are 3 events in rapid succession. The first event is MECO, or main engine cutoff. This is where all 9 of the Merlin engines on the Falcon 9 first stage will shut down in preparation for the second event, which is stage separation. This is where the first and second stage will separate from one another. And a few seconds after that, we'll have a second engine start 1, where the Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage will ignite to boost Dragon to low Earth orbit. Again, that is main engine cutoff, stage separation, followed by second engine start on the second stage. Main engine cutoff should happen around the T plus 2 minute and 31 second mark. And you just saw on screen successful main engine cutoff, stage separation, and ignition of our second stage. So on screen right now, you have 2 different views. On the right-hand side is a view of our second stage Merlin vacuum engine. On top of that second stage is our Dragon vehicle. And on the left-hand side is a view from the top of our first stage looking downward. The first stage will continue its descent back towards Earth and attempt landing on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, in a few minutes, while the second stage continues to take our Dragon vehicle to low Earth orbit. If you are just